Okay. This is going to be my first stream, so it's going to be a little clunky, but that's okay. We're going to be playing some Final Fantasy. I figured today we'll just get some characters created, maybe watch some video while we grind out some experience. Hopefully we can get all the way through the first part and get used to how this whole thing works. So we are going to be playing the original Nintendo version of Final Fantasy, and maybe we'll watch a whole documentary on that too. I actually watched one not too long ago. It was absolutely fascinating. So let's get started here. So I remember when I first played this game, God, I must have been like 10, 12, and just hearing the music compared to the other games that I'd played before, like Excite Bike, where there wasn't any really sound, and then I played this game, and you just hear the chords going up and down, listen to the music. It was just absolutely amazing. I even remember when we would, my buddy at the time, we would go play outside, and he was a huge Final Fantasy fan as well, and we would just pretend like we were the characters, searching for orbs and stuff like that. It was a ton of fun. So, all right. So, the world is veiled in darkness. The wind stops, the sea is wild, and the earth begins to rot. The people wait. Their only hope, a prophecy. When the world is in darkness, 4 warriors will come. After a long journey, 4 young warriors arrive, each holding an orb. So we'll speed up this a little bit. We'll get started here. So I was reading a whole lot on the different types of characters, which might be, the best group, but I figured it'd be more fun to have like a variety. I mean, I've beaten this game about 3 different times. Once I think I had a fighter, red mage, a black belt, and a black mage. I've also played with 2 fighters and 2 red mages. That one actually was surprisingly powerful group. But let's just try dealing with some variety here. So we will do the fighter. Let's find a name for him. Let's call him Thor. I think Thor would be a pretty good name. Not the streamer. We'll name him after the god Thor, because he should be powerful. I don't really want to do a black belt, just because, after a little bit, it's only hands and fists. They're overpowered near the end. I mean, they hit like 10 times, only fists. I think you kind of lose out on equipping them with some of the cool gear. Oops, I just said I wasn't going to, and then I did that. Let's see if I can go back. Let's go. Thieves are supposed to be terrible, so let's just for fun. Let's just see how bad he really is. And I think you are required to name a thief Locke. If I had an E, I would call him Loki. Apparently I can't spell. There we go, Locke. Let's do a white mage so we can have the end level magic. I think that would be pretty cool. I think when I was a kid, I first named her Rose. So let's just go ahead and continue with that. Not real creative. Not even sure if it's a female or not, but in my mind I always imagine the white mage as the female. And everyone's favorite, the mysterious black mage. Let's call him or her Magi. We won't be, or Magi. We won't be real creative with that. Alright, looks good. Let's hope this thief doesn't ruin this whole experience. Whoops, what am I doing here? Alright. Actually, because I'm gonna keep pronouncing it Magi or Magi, and I don't know which one it is, we're gonna call him Magoo, because that's hilarious. Okay. So, yeah, when I first started this game and you just see this giant castle and this this town, I was just amazed. So, let's go take a peek inside. Let's go in the town. Let's see what we can get equipped with just starting out. Of course, you have that fantastic, friendly village music. There was actually, they were trying to do like Dragon's Quest and hire like a famous musician. They actually found someone who wasn't famous but ended up becoming famous just based on, I mean, I guess famous. He was like up and coming at the time. Can't remember all the exact details, but I better see what my guys have first before I start wasting money. Nothing here. Alright, let's get used to the controls. Okay, so we have literally nothing. Alright. But we do have 400 gold. That's pretty sweet. Alright, let's buy an iron hammer. And I can't remember who can use that. Oh, did I do that? Okay. We'll take it. Let's give that to... Let's start with Thor. Let's see the damage that it does. Okay. The iron hammer. Okay, so he can do that. And let's see. So that gives him damage of 19. Let's pick up a small dagger. Actually, a rapier. We'll take that. We'll give that to him too. Oh my god. I'll get used to it eventually. Alright. So we had 19. Same 19. We'll let him keep the rapier. And we will give Rose the hammer. I wonder if Locke can use the hammer. He cannot. He cannot swing a hammer. Oh, but he can use that. That's good. Okay, so I don't think... Hopefully he's not going to be as useless as I think. As everyone says he is. We'll find out. Let's go see what else we can get here. So we will pick up a rapier for Thor. Okay, I keep trying to... I'm using an Xbox controller. I actually have a retro Nintendo controller that I purchased that I thought would be good. I can't find it. It's in my desk. But I got a Super Nintendo one, got a regular Nintendo one. Here it is. But these are made so poorly, like I can't even hardly control the characters. I was actually disappointed. Maybe I'll try the Super Nintendo one. No, I did try the Super Nintendo one. That one was terrible too. So I'm just gonna have to use an Xbox One controller. That's all right. That shouldn't give me any sort of advantage in this game anyway. So I'm trying to hit Y to go into like an inventory, and I'm not sure what game makes me do that. But whatever it is, my brain is trained to do it. All right, let's buy finally a small dagger for Mr. Magoo. And get that equipped. Alright, so now we can create a little bit of damage. Let's get a little bit of armor for us. I always just loved like the simplicity of this, but it was like leagues ahead of anything else at the time. Alright. This is where it gets expensive. So we'll give him chain first, and let's see who else can equip the chain armor. I know he can. Can you? Of course not. They're gonna be... I doubt magic users can use the chain. It's too heavy for their frail bodies. I think they're only gonna use cloth. Okay. Let's I hope you can buy wooden, 'cause if not, this is going to be an expensive mistake. And I'm going to be very disappointed in you, Locke. But, okay. Let's... Okay, good. What about Rose? You can swing a hammer, but you cannot put wooden armor on. And now I'm wondering, did wooden armor really exist? I mean, that would be some awesome workmanship. But I don't even know if that's a real thing. I bet it would look awesome, though, especially if you polished it up. How useful it would be, I'm not sure. Probably take an arrow. Better than a steel one, because I think it would just, you know, at least a thin one. Or a chain. Probably cut right through the metal, but wood has it kind of grab the arrow. Alright. We'll get you guys these. And that will give us enough money to also get an attack spell, maybe? Okay. Alright, I got it without hitting Y. It's coming along. I will get used to it. Okay. Now we're not so squishy. I mean, I guess we're about 50% squishy. Of course I have to go with the black magic first. I mean, why not, right? Who will learn it? Magoo is interested in learning it. And let's learn a healing one so I don't get myself into too much trouble. Alright, Rose. You can learn Cure. And we are now broke. Just like everyone in 2025. And then I don't think I have any money for any equipment. Let's go up and see what's going on in the castle. One of my favorite things about this game too is just like there's the secrets and stuff like that that are in here. I can barely remember them. We'll see if I just by instinct go to them. The king is looking for the light warriors. You do not happen to be them, do you? Do I? Do I be them? I do be them. I do be them immensely. Alright. Let's go see the king. Do you have anything unique to say? No. Apparently the king is hiring nothing but robots. Light warriors. Just as Lucan's prophecy, Garland has kidnapped the princess. Please help her. Alright, king. Will do. But first, I'm going to run around the woods a little bit. I hope Garland doesn't mistreat her. But I need some experience so I don't die. I wonder how long I can go without dying. Alright, should I search the castle now? No. Let's just go. Let's go create a little bit of. Go create a little bit of trouble. Alright. Let's see. Here we go. I just love how he's like... I mean, for scale, I mean, is he literally a giant with his head poking out of the trees? Of course, this music is just... Fight music is just amazing. What I like about this one, which I wish more of them did, is like, you're like, I want to hit him, and it like adds more strategy. Like, if I say, alright, I want to hit him, and I want to hit him too. Oh my god, is he squishy. If he dies, then everyone else kind of wastes their time. So, kills him. Now Thor, in the newer Final Fantasies, would just go to the next available guy. I think it's cool how this one, you have to try to predict what they're gonna kill. Alright. Alright, Magoo, I have a feeling you're gonna die first. Don't be the first to die. I mean, it'd be a classic Magoo thing to do, but let's not. So we'll fight a couple of these guys, get them wiped out. And then weaken up the... Oh, so they have like exactly 8 health. Holy smokes, Rose. I did not realize Rose is just so beefy. Oh my god, Locke. Come on. Should have given Locke the hammer if he can swing it, apparently. So right now I'm mostly farming for experience, not necessarily gold. I just want to be able to get through... the initial level or two. So I can get... So I'm not quite so squishy. Let's try one more battle. And then once we get through that next battle, I think we will be okay. Maybe that'll be a level up? I don't know. Oh, wolf! Werewolf. There, wolf. If you know that reference. One of the greatest movies of all time. Young Frankenstein, of course. They're going through the, when they're going through the, on the horse and carriage, and there's a howl, and then Dr. Frankenstein goes, wolf, and then his assistant goes, wolf, or sorry, okay, I'm screwing it up, it's so bad. So they go, werewolf, and the other one goes, werewolf, and then Igor goes, there. Like, what? There, wolf. There, castle. Why are you talking like? I don't know, I thought you wanted to. God, I butchered that so bad, but that's fine. If you've seen it, maybe you'll be laughing. Who knows? Alright. If we not had a level up yet. Alright. We'll put... I should make Magoo and Locke attack the same character and just have Rose. Show everyone how it's done. Alright. Ugh. Okay. I'm trying to get a level up before I go to the end, so I don't waste the money doing that. Let's see if I can see. Does it tell you when you get a level up? Oh, it does. Cool. So 16. Is that going to be the same for everyone? Okay. So let's see if I can farm out 16 more experience before I level up. Oh god. If I remember correctly, these things hit way harder than they have any business doing. I'm gonna go ahead and cast a spell. I am not playing around. Look at 32 damage and still ticking. Oh my god. 46 or 44 plus 17. Okay. 54 plus 17. I don't know what that is, 73, something like that. Oh, so close to a level up. Just need one more. Just give me an imp. Lucked out on that one. Okay, here we go. You know what? Let's just go ahead and give myself a little buffer. We might as well, this is our last battle anyway. Oi. Come on, Rose. Come on, Rose. I'm pretty sure they didn't have... I'm pretty sure they didn't have the seizure warnings when this came out, because that was awfully flashy. Do I need to put that at the beginning of each video? Warning, Nintendo game will give you seizures and not warn you about it. Alright. Here we go. Let's get some level ups. Here we go. 58 health. 53, not too bad. Locke. What about you, Rose? 54. Why is my white mage just more powerful than my thief? Like, it's embarrassing. I hope he gets better. And 49. See, that's more like it. Magoo. Alright. Let's hit the end, see how we're doing here. Yes. 30 gold. God, you're expensive. Alright, feeling good. So, one of my favorite things is actually, is like creepy stuff. Actually, that was kind of what my channel started on, is doing long-form videos, doing creepy stuff. Man, it was a ton of work. I just couldn't do it with my regular 9 to 5. So I figured, we'll switch it up. We'll try this, and then maybe I can mix in some spooky stuff, and then if I end up getting some free time down the road, I can mix in some more long-form spooky videos on other platforms and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and give it a, let's pop this on, turn this down. In the background, we're going to farm out a little bit more experience, and I'm just going to kind of run in circles. And so this one's actually, I'm going to play a video from T's Storytime, and it's called Exploring Florida's Top Weird Folklore, Volume 1, Myths and Legends of the United States. So I listened to a little bit of this guy's stuff. He kind of goes around the United States, and, or I don't know if he does personally, but he kind of goes all over and looks for different spooky things to talk about, different in each state. So I'm actually in Florida, so we'll start with this one. It'll be a little bit of fun. I may even recognize some of these. So let's go ahead and give this a try here. And hopefully this little intro music isn't copyrighted, so I'm just going to talk over the top.
The Betts family lived on Fort George Island, an island that's technically part of Jacksonville, Florida, but is in actuality about 14 miles to the northeast of downtown Jacksonville. The father, Antoine, was an engineer, and Jerry was an artist. And the family had 6 children. This family lived in a mansion in Fort George.
6 children, holy smokes. Could you imagine? Like I've got one kid, and he's a handful, but he's awesome. 6 kids. All right, good job, Jerry.
They lovingly referred to as the castle, and as you might expect from a family that lived in a mansion named the Castle, the family was very well-to-do and well-educated. Now, one day there was a brush fire on their property, and the family went out to assess the damage caused by it, and this is when the family supposedly stumbled upon a large polished metal sphere, about 8 inches or 20 centimeters in diameter, that was extremely heavy for its size, weighing about 22 pounds. They would actually bring this sphere home and inspect it, finding on it that there were no signs of machining, so to speak. And beyond a couple of small scratches, the only visible markings on it were a triangle of sorts. This ball would be set on one of the children's windowsills in the home at first, as the...
I'm not seeing... I love how they just have some random hunk of metal. We're just going to put it in the kids' room. Which one? We got 6. Just pick one. It doesn't matter. A large like it says a triangle, but I'm not seeing it in the picture at all. I mean, if this is the so-called Betts sphere. So, yeah. I mean, might as well go like this, but yeah, I'm seeing some scratches and stuff like that, some discoloration, but yeah, I'm not seeing any triangle.
The family thought it was a cannonball left behind by conquistadors that once resided in the region, and for a while the family would think nothing of this polished metal ball. That is until Terry, the child that brought it home, would notice strange noises coming from the ball while he was playing a guitar with one of his friends in his room. This noise would apparently intensify as he played the guitar closer to the ball.
Listening to children learn how to play music, it was probably the ball being like, please save me. Please save me. Just stop playing for like 5 minutes. I need a break.
He would then, after inspecting it a bit, set the ball on the ground. And according to Terry, though nobody was around the ball, it would suddenly start moving on its own. We'll talk a bit more about this part later. Regardless, the claim was that the ball would alternate between rolling around, vibrating, and rolling more in another direction, sometimes even coming back to the person who rolled it. And one account even claimed that it rolled on its own for 12 minutes at one point. Heck, they even put the ball on a table once and tried to get it to roll off. And it wouldn't. They would literally turn the table on its side, and the ball would remain on the table, as if clinging on for dear life.
This is what it's so frustrating when you hear this stuff because you're like, all right, let's see it. Let's see the video. Um, I missed what year it said it was. That picture doesn't look. Doesn't look so crazy old. I mean, they were wealthy. I'd be shocked that they don't have some sort of video footage, or even take the picture of it sideways. You know, not falling off the table. Drives me nuts. It's like all the evidence we know with the UFOs. You know, I got abducted, and I got ghosts, and oh, you got any pictures? Well, I didn't think to take a picture of the most important thing that could happen to humanity as a whole. I forgot to take the picture. But trust me.
They also claimed that if you shook the ball, it would sort of try to get away from you. It also was apparently magnetic, and according to the family, when it rolled more or was exposed to the sun, it would become more magnetic, and even absorb sunlight and remain warm for days afterwards. Anyways, all of this would prompt a photographer, Lon Anger, to come pay a visit to the so-called oddball, or the Betsphere as they called it, whatever you want to call it. Now, the claim was that this photographer was skeptical, and sure enough, despite this skepticism, he would observe the ball doing its weird stuff, rolling and changing direction mostly, and then coming back to him again after it rolled around. At this point, he would publish a story in the newspaper about this strange ball, and this would ignite a media frenzy surrounding it. According to the Betts family, they were getting calls non-stop at this point from the media, and this was probably pretty annoying, but inevitably this grew out of its britches even more, and the US military became interested in this strange metal sphere.
You just imagine the general that got this. It's like, go down there and get an answer. Go get an answer. I do not care what it is. Like, go down there. If it's real, get it. If it's not real, we gotta know. We gotta get a word. We gotta get the word out.
Jerry Betts strangely would decline to give this so-called oddball to the military representatives that reached out to the family. But as we know well, when the military asks you for something, it's actually more of a demand, and further pressure would prompt the family to loan it to them for 2 weeks. To be clear, this further pressure was the Navy saying, hey, this sphere you've got may literally be an undetonated explosive, which is, sort of fair to be clear. You don't want to let explosives chill in your home. Anyways, the Navy even signed a contract saying that they'd identify the orb for the family and return it if it wasn't an explosive device.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Hey, this thing that has like an unknown power source that appears to be alive and everything else. If it won't blow you up, I promise we'll give it back. We have no interest in keeping something that's alive and moving around in a polished metal ball. Yeah, that sounds like something the military would do.
Sounds reasonable enough to me. Ultimately, the Navy would report the following details about the sphere, which I think the family mostly already knew. It was, as we've stated, about 8 inches in diameter. It was just over 21 pounds in weight. It was made of a magnetic stainless steel alloy, and it was extremely resilient to heat and pressure. It was stainless steel grade 431. It had 4 magnetic poles that were strangely variable, and they also x-rayed the sphere, and they weren't able to determine anything about it, thus returning it to the Betts family since it didn't appear dangerous.
So where's the report? Is it just the Betts said that this is what the military said? How does that say? It said the sphere is made of... Okay. One caller suggested Tampa television station WFLA that the ball looked like a check valve used in the phosphate pumping lines. But an engineer for Lakeland firm that installs such equipment said the largest valve he knows of would be 4 inches in diameter. The Betts sphere is 8 inches in diameter and weighs 22 pounds. Metallurgist Fred Thomas, who checked it out at the Jacksonville Naval Aid Station, said the sphere is made of high-grade, half-inch thick stainless steel. It's probably empty except for residue left inside from its production process. Yeah, so this... Okay. The Inquirer said its blue ribbon panel of UFO investigators would examine the sphere at a conference already planned for this week. Okay. So, no report. This doesn't even talk about the military looking at it.
This being said, things started to not line up at this point. When a Navy serviceman returned the object to the Betts family, he had X-rays of it in hand, despite the Navy initially claiming they couldn't X-ray it. These X-rays claimed there was something inside of the sphere. The shell was about a half-inch thick, but inside of the sphere there were more layers of steel, and there was also a hollow space inside of it, where there were smaller spheres with apparent wires connected to them. These spheres, it's worth noting again, were not placed inside of the bigger sphere later, or at least there wasn't any evidence that they'd been cut into the larger sphere. Of course, all of this strangeness prompted speculation about what this object might be, and the most common explanation by the media and non-military affiliated individuals was that this thing seemed off, like not from our planet off. Further inquiry into the sphere yielded more interesting information about it.
There was someone once said that, things like this, when you don't know the answer, people generally try to explain it like they try to answer the question with another question. Just like, hey, we have some goats missing, in Mexico. Well, what's killing the goats? Oh, we don't know. Okay, you know what? It's a chupacabra. Okay, well, what's a chupacabra? Well, I don't know that either. So it's just like, what's going on with the sphere? I don't know. Maybe it's an alien. Oh yeah, what alien? I don't know. Like you're not any better off by taking a question and replacing it with another question. You're just in the exact same position. Actually, you're in worse position because now you have two questions. You don't know what the sphere is, and you don't know what the aliens are up to anyway.
For instance, a scientist, one Dr. Williston, found that it was emitting radio waves, but also supposedly identified an undiscovered element was partially comprising the sphere.
How could they possibly know that? That it would be an unknown element? Like, let's find out.
It's worth noting any digging into who this Dr. Williston was, or what his organization, the Omega 1 Institute, actually did, yields no information. Many take
the Omega 1 Institute, that sounds like straight SCP stuff. Like is the Omega 1 part of the SCP organization? This might be the first real SCP.
This and speculate that he was perhaps a foreign operative or a deep state scientist, but I wonder if he ever existed at all. Additionally, one Dr. James Harder would investigate this object. Dr. Harder was an engineering professor and would confirm what Dr. Williston suggested, that a previously unidentified element with 140 protons, yes, our modern periodic table only goes up to elements with 118 protons, partially comprised the sphere. Now, I should note, I'm extremely skeptical of this claim of element 140 partially comprising this object, as it's really well known that, at the very least, in the conditions we face here on Earth, protons with many neutrons face strong electrostatic repulsion in their nucleus, leading them to become unstable and rapidly decaying. To put this simpler, protons are positive. You know how when you put two positive magnet terminals near one another, they will resist being close together, even pushing one another away. Yeah, this is the exact reason it's difficult to sustain elements naturally with many, many protons, and why the highest amount of protons you'll find naturally on Earth is in uranium, which is element number 92, indicating it has 92 protons in its nucleus.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same thing that was the issue with Bob Lazar. The alien or the rocket scientist that claimed that he worked for some deep underground UFO research facility where he saw UFOs and all that other stuff, and he claimed, I think it was element 114 or something like that, which we know only lasts like a tiny fraction of a second in laboratory. But he claims if you were to take that and make it a stable, that you would somehow be able to get it would levitate on its own. So that's how the UFOs are able to levitate. It's using a stable version of element 114, some sort of isotope. Now, like 120, I think that's what he said, would be so, number one, it'd be so heavy. The thing had that element in there. That thing would be so heavy And on top of that, it would it would only exist for a fraction of a second because the nucleus is so large. It wouldn't be able to hold itself together, and that's the issue that they're having. That the protons would just fly off. There's not enough force. I don't know. They call it the strong force or the weak force. I don't remember. But the force holding the protons there is just not strong enough, and the protons would almost immediately fly off unless there's some sort of something that this guy knew that somehow element 120 was able to keep it together, but still just give it back to the family because he promised he would, I guess.
Yes. Of course, now that we're talking about hoopty-doopty stuff, we might as well bring Dr. Hynek into this. Hynek was an astronomer and professor, and we actually mentioned him in my Kentucky's Weird Lore video, Volume 2, a few weeks ago.
Dr. Hynek, I think, was part of Project Blue Book too. I think he was like one of the head people. I can't remember if his job was to disprove or to just do research on it. I can't remember his role.
Where he posited that Mantell, an Air Force pilot, may have been chasing Venus in the sky. Hynek, as you'll recall if you watched that video, was involved in Project Blue Book, a top-secret UFO identification program the government ran from 1952 to 1969, and might still be running now if you believe the urban legends. Regardless, among all of this science, not science, hoodoo-voodoo stuff going on, another cohort of scientists would offer the family about $750,000 for the sphere. They would turn down this offer, though.
I mean, one of two things. We already know they're rich living in a mansion. But if someone legitimately offered them $750,000 back in, was this the 70s? The 60s, 50s? It's an enormous amount of money. Even so, you can't say, oh, they were doing it for the money if they were genuinely offered that amount of money and then they turned it down. So then to me that adds like a little bit of credibility to that there's definitely something weird going on with this sphere of some sort. That they're willing to hold on to it. Or option B, they know it's just a load of BS, and they know as soon as they sell it for $750,000 and the person puts it on their table and it rolls off and doesn't do anything, they're gonna make that whole family look foolish. So I have a feeling it's the second one.
Now, here comes the climax to this situation. The National Enquirer, yes, I know it's sort of a hose job of a media organization, was offering a cash prize to folks that could prove extraterrestrials existed. And Hynek was on the panel overseeing this so-called proof alongside many other, likely more credible individuals. The Betts family would share the sphere with the National Enquirer because of this. Of course, when the sphere visited this panel of experts, it did what it always did. It rolled around of its own free will. But
this family was like incredibly rich. I mean, how do they know they ain't just get one reporter and just say, hey, I'll give you $1,000 if you say, yeah, this thing was moving around on a table. That's all you gotta do. I mean, you guys are into that stuff anyway, the UFOs and the spooky stuff, and it'll look good for you. You get a little extra cash, win-win.
That's when Terry, the one that accompanied the sphere to this so-called panel of experts at the National Enquirer, got a call. His mother, it seemed, had been in some sort of accident, and he flew home. Of course, his mom was okay, and at this point it was clear what happened. The Enquirer wanted Terry away from his precious sphere, and that short separation was long enough that the panel of experts could bring it to New Orleans for further testing under the guidance of the Navy. Eventually, the Navy would give the sphere back, but the thing is, after their testing, the sphere would no longer do its thing.
So why would the Navy already looked at it once? So now when someone besides this story, but like now you have a third party, the National Enquirer says, you know what, let's take this to the Navy and have them look at it. Let's see what they say. And the Navy is like, all right, let me take a look. Like, are we gonna get the same results? We'll see.
It stopped rolling around of its own accord.
Okay, well, there you go. So as soon as the Navy looks at it, they go, "There's nothing here." But when the family takes it, the Betts family, they're like, "Hey, Yeah, I swear, the Navy looked at it. They said it was really weird, too. They gave it back, though. They said they couldn't understand it had mysterious elements in it. But when the National Enquirer brings it to it, the Navy's like, oh, nothing going on.
Additionally, it didn't have magnetic poles anymore, and it had a small cut on it. X-rays also showed that there was nothing inside of it anymore. In short, if you don't catch my drift already, it sounds like someone switched out the real deal orb with a fake that they either crafted or the real deal, which they'd cut into and hollowed out and taken the valuable stuff out of.
We can't let the truth get in the way of a good story. I mean, to me, this is when it gets really fun. You got, when you start getting into the government cover-ups, the deep state hiding and taking it, like the X-Files at the end of the episode when they're pushing the UFO stuff down the middle of the warehouse this dark warehouse, and they push it there and they just file it, and then it's there for the end of eternity, and everyone pretends like it never existed. I mean, God, I love that stuff.
So with this story in the backs of our minds, let's answer the riveting question. What do folks think the Betsphere might be? One culprit is folks who think it might be a Foo Fighter. No, not the Seattle-based rock band, like the original Foo Fighters. Maybe this is some fun etymology for y'all, but
yeah, just like I said, what is a sphere? I don't know. Well, maybe it's a Foo Fighter. What's the Foo Fighter? I don't know. Okay. So, all right. So you told me nothing then.
Allied aircraft pilots in World War II saw lots of UFOs. And eventually, one of these was named a Foo Fighter by the 415th Night Fighter Squadron, with the word Foo sort of just being a nonsense word. These things would move at speeds unobtainable by craft at that time.
I mean, just to me, the sphere is far less interesting than the actual Foo Fighters themselves, because it wasn't just like one pilot that saw it, or one rich family that has the sphere that whenever anyone sees it, it's, if it's just one person going to see it, then, it's magical, but as soon as you send it to a laboratory from a third party, then suddenly it's not magical anymore. But the Foo Fighters are like just all over, all over the war scene, all these reports and stuff like that. Maybe I'll have to watch a video on that sometime.
And they were frequently reported looking like balls of fire that would follow contemporary aircraft easily. In the Pacific theater of war, for instance, these balls of fire would sort of linger in the sky according to pilots. Others, of course, think this sphere was something more simple, a human-made stainless steel sphere that was polished by industrial equipment.
I mean, it's usually the simplest explanation's the right one. Although as big as it is, it's got to be partially hollow, because there would be no way some kid would be able to pick up something that size on their own if it was solid.
And that all of the fantastical stories about the sphere were made up. An artist from New Mexico, James Durling Jones, claimed the sphere had actually been his, and the sphere's purpose was simply a ball check valve in a pipe, and that he'd lost it off the top of his car at one point.
Okay, that's a lot to unwrap. Why did he have a random huge... Okay, so there was an artist with a giant ball check valve on top of his car that was used for industrial applications. I want this guy's story. I mean, come on. That's way more interesting than some rich family that just found a sphere that's acting weird. I mean, come on. What are you doing, guy?
It's worth noting, balls like this, albeit usually smaller ones, are frequently used in industrial applications. They do have seams, though, and they do not move of their own accord. Also, rolling into the woods from atop a car is one thing, but the sphere was deep, really deep, like a mile into the woods about. Despite this, this is the Navy's official explanation as of 1974, that this is a huge ball bearing used as a check valve, and that it was probably used in some chemical plants in the area. Heck, even a similar sized and shaped ball was found in the exact same area and reported on by the Miami Herald.
Well, I mean... mystery solved, right? I don't know if he's going to read it or not. If he does, I'll skip past it. But from Herald Wire Services, Jacksonville, A second mystery sphere appeared in Jacksonville Wednesday and was promptly identified as part of a valve once used in a paper mill. The second stainless steel ball was brought from obscurity by Lottie Robinson, who said it had rested without incident in her garage for several years. What is with all this industrial equipment and pieces just in people's homes on top of their cars? Like, why aren't they still in the factory? My God. A sphere discovered last week by the suburban Jacksonville family last week is on its way to New Orleans, where a panel of specialists dealing with unidentified flying objects plans to examine it. The 21-pound sphere was found at the 20-acre home of Antoine Betts at Fort George Island, 15 miles north of Jacksonville. Miss Betts had told newsmen that the ball is like a... Okay, I don't think that's an offensive word. It's like a giant Mexican jumping bean, which seems to have something inside which causes it to roll in strange concentric patterns. She thought the sphere came from outer space. Navy metallurgist Fred Thomas of the Jacksonville Naval Air Station had said in a report that the ball is hollow and empty, probably a giant bearing, uses a check valve in the piping systems of chemical plants. He said the Betts sphere weighed 21.34 pounds, is nearly 8 inches in diameter, and was made of high-grade stainless steel alloy, which would make sense if it's in a liquid as a check valve. It would need to be stainless, with a thickness of a half an inch. Robert Phillips, public relations manager for the St. Regis Company paper mill here, said mill technicians identified the Robinson sphere as part of the valve once used in pipes moving corrosive liquid. We discarded this equipment about 15 years ago, Phillips said. Okay. Normally, we sell all scrap metal. There's no telling who got it from the junk dealer's pile, he added. Miss Robinson's sphere weighs in 20 pounds and is slightly smaller in diameter than the Betts sphere. Miss Robinson said the ball in her garage was given to her son about 15 years ago by a friend of the family. Okay, why not? Yeah, so, I mean, even the paper mill's like, yeah, that's ours. Yeah, we have those all the time. We try to scrap it, but someone took it out of the scrap pile. And apparently strapped it to their roof and drove down the road until it fell off into a mile into the woods. Don't know what's going on.
Who identified it as part of a valve used in a paper mill in the area. To dig deeper, even the prevailing opinion by the National Enquirer scientists was that it was simply a stainless steel ball manufactured right here on Earth. Perhaps to put a further nail in this coffin, a company, Bell and Howell, produced a ball check valve with pretty much identical size, weight, and composition as this sphere, excluding the proton number 140 thing we went through, which refutes the claim that this alien sphere
Not even 120, 140. Holy smokes.
Was too large to be a ball check valve. You know, while we're at what people think this sphere is, we should also discuss what people think was fake about the story. Generally, most of...
Alright, got another level up. Everyone's level 3. I think I'm going to try to pick up a couple more spells and then maybe go up and try to fight Garland and we'll see. Let's finish this one up here too while I get prepped for that.
The reasonable explanations people bring up regarding the sphere get the response, yeah, but then why did the sphere move on its own? And the answer to this question is that many don't think it did.
Yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is say it did, right? I mean, there's no video. The family's rich and probably influential in the area. And it's not like they have the internet these days where you can just blast them and pull out your phone and record it. Yeah, sure, it moved. Yeah, $20. Just tell everyone if anyone asks, it moved. That's nothing. I don't know what the purpose is, unless maybe that's like, rich people games, I guess. Yeah, sure, it moved. Why not?
Having lived in Boston, I can attest to the fact that old homes usually have relatively uneven, even pliable floors, and they think this is the reason that the sphere would roll and change direction, because these floors were incredibly uneven. Also, hey, if this so-called oddball was so willing to roll, why didn't it just roll off the windowsill that it sat on before Terry started playing guitar and this whole saga started?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, you brought it home. You didn't feel it in your hand the whole time you're carrying it. You put it in the house. You put it on your windowsill. It sat there for a while. It didn't move. And then one day, it suddenly or did you wake it up with your music? Your guitar brought this thing to life. I mean, the story does not add up at all. Very interesting, but does not add up at all.
This doesn't entirely explain why the bell rolled on its own when in the possession of the Navy, but hey, I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot me.
I haven't seen any reports. I'm very skeptical that the Navy got their hands on it.
Additionally, this wasn't way back in the past. This was in 1974, 19 years before the X-Files would have aired, so you can't tell me folks weren't already thinking about UFOs with frequency at that point. Anyways, if you can't tell, I'm not entirely sold on this sphere being an extraterrestrial. As I often say to my skeptical family members, we shouldn't have to look at our feet for aliens when above our heads is the entire freaking cosmos. I'm not saying I don't believe in alien life, I absolutely do, but I'm not convinced by episodes like this.
All right. Yeah, neither am I. I'm extremely skeptical. Too many things don't add up. It's like, you have this ball, and it's sitting up on the windowsill. No one says anything about it. Then one day the kid's like, "Oh, hey, the ball's moving, on its own." And when I move my guitar closer, it moves more. I mean, like, I hate to say it like this. I mean, it's kind of like these kids are probably just so wealthy they can just say or do whatever they want, and their parents are probably playing a game like, let's see how far we can take this. Why not? Or maybe it's like, hey, let's keep getting our name out there. Let's get more popular. Not only are we wealthy, let's also become famous as well. And I mean, this is in the 70s when you got Dr. Hynek, and I mean, everyone was in like UFO. That was like UFO prime time. I mean, people were alien crazy, and no one better. I mean, you're gonna, especially back then, when the media, you have a prominent family that's saying, yeah, I got this thing. It's got all this strange stuff going on. I mean, it's a fantastic story. Let's get lightning. And then let's also, I don't know the difference between sleep and lock. Let's get sleep. And then let's see what else we can get. Rose. Let's give her harm. I don't know what fog or ruse is. I'm gonna get ruse, just because it sounds more interesting. Alright. Let's see the stats. I am now level 3. We got 80, 80, 57, 50. Maybe we should pick up a couple items in case we get poisoned. And then we can... Let's grab a couple heals. I guess we'll get 3 of them. Alright. Let's try to get up there without getting hurt. And let's just go straight for the attack on Garland. I love I think it's so cool how the background changes even in this, this older game. Instead of just having like a grassy field or a top view, you can actually see forests in the background like you're in the forest. Alright, let's try not to get hit. Oh, I lucked out. Missed. Alright. Fight, 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 fight. Whoa. 70 damage. Nice job, Thor. I really... it just occurred to me. Why didn't I give Thor the hammer? I mean... My god. He's Thor. Alright. Sorry, Thor. It's too late now. We're in too deep. No one touches my princess. Light warriors, you impenitent fools, I, Garland, will knock you all down. I always thought Garland was a woman. I mean, I don't know if it was the colors or just the hair in the picture or what. Alright, so here we go. First boss. I wonder if harm works on you. And let's put fire on you. 25, nice hit. Come on, Locke, don't embarrass me. I said don't embarrass me. 3 damage. Okay, harm isn't effective. 4 damage, that's nothing. 40 damage. You see that, Locke? That's how you do it. Fight. Fight. Let's save it. Let's just fight. And then I'm just gonna... Let's see how lightning does. We did 40 with the fire. Only 2 damage, Garland. Come on, man. Okay, 40. 28. Terminated. Okay, well, that works out anyway. Whoa, 250 gold. Nice. I'm gonna talk to the bats. Kiki! Kiki! Okay. Oh, God. I wonder if harm works on the undead. Is that what's going on? I know fire will work well. Ugh. I forgot that you can actually will... Oh. Okay. So harm is for the undead. That's good to know. Get a little extra gold while I'm in here. Let's talk to the princess. So, you are the Night Warriors. Thank you. Alright. Oh. This lute has been passed down from the queen to princess for 2,000 years. Garland stole it when he kidnapped me. Please accept it as my gift. It just might come in handy. Are you calling me a princess? I'll take it anyway. Thank you for saving the princess. To aid you in your quest, I ordered a bridge built to the continent. Go now and make the orbs shine again. Oh wait, we got spam coming in. At least I know that my chat works. That's pretty cool, even though it's just spam coming in. That's fine. But thanks for the offer. Alright. The princess always worries about you. I haven't been gone for 3 seconds. Are you still worried? No. Oh, excuse me. Now get ready for your trip and make the orbs shine again. Alright. I guess I will. Alright, let's go check out this bridge that he had built immediately. I mean, to have that power. I mean, don't you think it would have been beneficial for him to have built a bridge before? You know, I should have went to the inn. That's okay. And so, the journey begins. I don't want to press A and skip it. Okay. What awaits the four? They do not know. Each holding an orb that 2,000 years ago shined with the beauty from within, but now only darkness. This song that's playing right now, he wrote in something like a half hour. Come, start your journey. Return the light of peace to our world. But yeah, he I guess they realized that this intro, which when I first got to this was like I feel like that was like the length of some of the games, especially like Atari games. You know, you just shoot the little creatures, and you know, like a caterpillar or centipede. I mean, you know, it wasn't a whole lot to them. But this game, I mean, you're like play it for a good hour and a half, and you're just getting into the intro. The game just started. You know, it's pretty awesome. And the music in this is just amazing, and it only gets better with each following Final Fantasy, from what I remember. Okay, so here we are. I'm gonna go back, go to the end, save it, and we will call it good. So, but yeah, we'll watch the documentary once we finish getting through this video, which I think we'll do that later in the week. I do have to be up at like in about 4.5 hours for work. All right, hold reset while turning the power off. All right, I will disregard that. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Don't forget to, I don't know, subscribe, follow, whatever you want to do. I'd really appreciate it. I'm not sure. I don't have a schedule yet. I'm just kind of dipping my toes into this. I hope you guys had fun.